Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Nation News. So there's two parts to this video. I'm going to discuss the tweets that surfaced a few months ago about this contestant Will on The Bachelorette. I'm also going to play a clip of him yesterday when he was chatting with Tayshia and Becca on a Bachelor podcast. And we're going to just talk about the nuances of trying to be a good person and also having some problematic views on different topics. In this case, toxic masculinity versus masculinity. So I'm actually not going to judge him. You guys can. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge him. But I will play a clip of his interview first to get a taste of what he's like when he's not on a scripted TV show. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And hit the like button. As always, I got this road to... Oh, shoot. Jeez. I got this road to 50K right here. Let me know if you guys want to, if you get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I'm going to open this present right here that was sent to me. So please subscribe to the channel. Okay, I'm going to play this clip and then we'll talk about the tweets. All right, here's a quick clip. Will playing a round of Bachelorette superlatives with Becca and Tayshia.
4 games on Bachelor Happy Hour. So we're going to do a little Bachelorette superlatives. So basically, we're going to give you just a most likely to example, and then you'll just have to finish the sentence with the name of someone in Michelle's group of guys that you think best fits. And it just can be rapid fire and have fun with it. And if it's you, you can say you, any of the names. It's fair game. So Tayshia, you want to kick it off?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So most likely to get the party started.
Rodney.
Rodney. We're fans of. Okay. Most likely to start the drama.
Jamie.
Peter Pizza.
Wait, did he ever make pizza for you guys? Did anyone try any?
No, he just dropped the dough on the floor.
Yeah, he never did. He wanted to so bad, and he never got a chance to.
Missed opportunity.
I wouldn't have had
one
piece.
day.
I would have skipped out.
Hey.
He would have poisoned your piece. Watch out.
Oh gosh. Okay, most likely to get the guys laughing.
Let me see. There's a few funny guys within the group. I'm gonna have to go with Rodney again. Rodney was just good vibes to be around. And every time I was around Rodney, my cheeks were hurt just from laughing.
We're huge Rodney fans, so at least I am. I don't want to speak for Tayshia, but I'm a huge Rodney fan. Who is most likely to start a dance party?
The dance party. Ooh, let me see.
Rodney.
I would say Leroy. Leroy is like a quiet.
Okay, so I'm not going to play any more of that. You can go watch this clip on YouTube, Bachelor Nation. Okay, so he's a generally good vibes of a guy, right? Can you be a good guy and also tweet something problematic? Someone says Will is the best, so funny and a man of character. Rodney, I like Will too. Great guy, clearly the bigger man and super hot. Maggie, hey, we love Maggie. She's part of our channel. Bigger man and super hot. Now, of course, what we know from this last episode with Will is that he got into a tiff with Peter, pizza guy, doughboy over here, right? He was accused by the pizza guy of plagiarizing the pizza guy's romantic thing to his lady, and Will was accused of just translating that into Spanish and saying the same thing. Who knows? I don't know if that's true or not. Either way, afterwards, Peter won the bomber jacket. I'm sorry, Will won the bomber jacket, this guy right here, from the date. He won this nice memento. Peter took it and threw it in the pool, and then Will broke down crying. He walked away from the group crying. He goes, man, that guy's really pushing my buttons, which was an amazing saying. You're really pushing my buttons. Tell me what's pushing your buttons. Leave a comment. Dave, you did blank, blank, blank is pushing my buttons. Let me know. Do yourself a favor. Push the like button if that's really pushing buttons. Get in there and push away. All right. Give me that push gift right there. All right. So he composed himself after crying, breaking down, and he came back to the group. And what showed his character in a good way, because you can have good and bad, right? Nothing's perfect. Nothing's evil. Nothing's true evil. Nothing's true perfect. We're all somewhere in between. But you have Will didn't tell Michelle about the throwing of the jacket in the pool because he didn't want Michelle to see the toxic behavior that they had going on. He wanted to present a good visage for Michelle because she was having a good day. And that was a real bigger man thing that he did. Now, obviously, he still doesn't like Peter. Said he wouldn't eat his pizza and all that. Fine. But this was unearthed, and we probably talked about it on this channel a few months ago, but, not having a sort of a idea of who someone is and just knowing their headshot, you don't really, no one really cares too much about these things. But we'll talk about it now as we bring this up. So these are some of the some screen grabs that Reality Steve had posted of Will. Will, 29, Dominican Republic, Instagram at Illmatic Will, fitness trainer, but holy schnaggy. Some recent problematic retweets. Apparently he doesn't like US women. It's the alpha maleness for me. Good chance this will kill his chances of making it on the show. Yikes. Well, he made it on the show. Now, again, I'm just not going to judge what he's saying. I'm just going to sort of maybe re-educate in some ways, because there is a difference between toxic masculinity and femininity. There's a difference between femininity and toxic femininity, okay? Toxic masculinity is the toxicity within traits that we promote because it's like how to be a man. That's what's toxic. We'll share we'll share examples. In the meantime, let's read some of these retweets. So retweeting in today's world is seen as an endorsement. Why do a number of y'all women want to be viewed as an alpha female? What do you get out of it? Ain't no way a man with an alpha personality is attracted to a so-called alpha female. I have a joke about being an alpha male, and the whole punchline is, it's easy to tell who an alpha male is. It's whoever doesn't call themselves an alpha male. Alpha male is the one attribute. If you say that is what you are no longer it. If you're tall, say you're tall. I'm tall, he's tall. I'm an alpha male. I feel like alpha males don't really say that. American women in general make it hard for a man to want to take them seriously. From the feminine BS, lack of accountability, wanting to be thoughts, which is that hoe over there. Apparently, that's what that means. White boy Dave over here in my 30s trying to Google what thought means. And increase masculine energy, to name a few. I see why men are opting to just get a woman from a different country. I mean, first of all, and again, these are retweets. He didn't post this, he retweeted it. It's slightly different. I'm not saying it's any less. It's just, these weren't his thoughts, but he sort of shared these thoughts. Now, how many men are opting to get a woman from a different country? That has to be less than 0.001%, right? I mean, that seems like complete hogwash. So here's what he also retweeted. Toxic masculinity is a term coined by damaged women to weed out traits that make their fragile ego feel insecure when they are in the shadow of a male figure. A woman who had a strong and responsible father recognizes the importance of masculinity. It's protective, not oppressive. Well, see, and this is where we get to the truth. I got my wand here. First, and again, Will retweeted this. He didn't post this. I'm just saying that because we're trying to be very specific. Toxic masculinity is a term, blah, blah, blah. And then they say a woman who had a strong, responsible father figure recognizes the importance of masculinity. Well, you can't compare toxic masculinity to masculinity because we're talking about two different things. There is no war on masculinity. There is no war on someone, and I will say this. We talk about these terms, masculinity, femininity. I think we all possess a spectrum of vibes, okay? And this isn't going to be the most eloquent thing I've ever said, so stick with me. We all have masculine traits and we all have feminine traits. I personally really love the observations in the book, The Superior Man. It talks about, and I know that the term superior kind of has, it's not like that, but by David Dida, he talks about the idea of possessing masculine traits and possessing feminine traits and being able to, when you have a partner, vibe off each other's traits, right? So it's like magnetism. It's like a yin-yang theory that we have a little bit of one, a little bit of another. Now, obviously, if you're full-blown with your toxic masculinity, that's way too much of one thing. And toxicity, of course, is damaging to the self and, of course, others that are around it. So we just look into the actual definitions of toxic masculinity, which, will be varied because it's a term that's of newer, usage. Toxic masculinity is a term often used to describe the negative aspects of exaggerated masculine traits. The term has evolved over time and has a place both in academia and everyday speech. Frequent use of the phrase may result in some people misinterpreting what toxic masculinity is, which could lead to further misunderstanding and irritation. The concepts underlying traditional masculinity are complex. Some people may find it difficult to challenge archaic thinking and to move past these negative aspects of traditional and outdated male values, and it can take time. To do so, it is essential first to understand what toxic masculinity is and why it exists. So what is toxic masculinity? The definition explains toxic masculinity as the constellation of socially regressive masculine traits that serve to foster domination, the devaluation of women, homophobia, and wanton violence. In modern society, people often use the term toxic masculinity to describe exaggerated masculine traits that many cultures have widely accepted or glorified, including Hollywood glorifies a lot of these traits. The harmful concept of masculinity also places significant importance on manliness based on strength, lack of emotion, self-sufficiency, dominance, and sexual virility. So when we talk about lack of emotion, Will cried when his jacket was thrown in the pool. So he clearly shows, an ability to express his emotions. So in some ways, he's almost arguing, and I say arguing by retweeting, but he's almost arguing for or against toxic masculinity. And he's actually maybe in some levels not that toxic himself, and he's just got the terms messed up. Sexual virility is another one where it's like, I'm a man, I can knock up people, I can have it's like, well, it's just, again, I feel like when we have these conversations, we realize no one's knocking masculinity, and that's important to know. It's that T word, toxicity. That's really important when having these conversations. And when we have any of these conversations where we use terms that not everyone might understand, or terms that trigger people, trust me, the last thing I want to hear is someone in the comment section go, oh, Dave, that's just your toxic masculine. No one wants to be labeled anything like that, right? But by all means, leave a comment and call me all toxic masculine Dave. I'll take anything that calls me masculine at this point. I'm kidding. I have to say I'm kidding now because people are going to go, oh, Dave, obviously a couple videos ago, I generalized all of the Christians in the United States, which is over 200 million people. 250 million, folks. 20, whatever, give or take. And it's funny because when Will retweets these tweets that says like all women don't want this, or women in general, it's like I have a funny throwaway line that says all women don't want to be generalized. Okay, it's ironic because I said all women and then I said don't want to be generalized, but it's true. No one wants to be generalized into a group. So let's get specific. Could there be some women that don't want a masculine man? Sure, that might be their preference to go after a guy who's got more feminine qualities. Maybe they want a guy, and we say feminine qualities, but what do we even mean by that? I like the theater. Is that a feminine quality? I cry watching a lot of television. I cry when someone wins a gold medal, and I cry when someone gets voted off Survivor. I'm complicated, folks. Is that a feminine trait? I don't believe so, but maybe. It's certainly not toxic, I don't believe. According to traditional toxic masculine values, a male who does not display enough of these traits may fall short of being a real man. Overemphasis of these traits may lead to harmful imbalances in someone trying to live up to these expectations. Examples include aggression, sexual aggression or control, showing no emotion, or suppressing emotion. I think the suppression of emotion is literally the number one cause of violence that is out there. Hyper-competitiveness, needing to dominate or control others, a tendency towards or glorification of violence, isolation, low empathy, entitlement, chauvinism, and sexism. One example of this includes telling another person who is showing emotion to man up. Do me a favor, man up and hit that like button. I think we're getting redundant in explaining it. I think we understand. And it's important if you've got friends that are friends, or even you, if you're misusing or misspeaking about certain words have power. Words are important. So do the research to figure out what toxic masculinity is before you either use it or think you're being, exposed to it. It's important that we embrace like people that, it all comes down to education, right? So he's clearly with these tweets just completely, or these retweeting, completely uneducated to what he's talking about when he talks about these terms. I don't think women have a problem with a man who's completely masculine. I'll read a few of your comments just here. I don't think this is a problem. And of course, to suggest that all women or all men have a problem with something, some people like a bad boy. Is that a toxic masculinity? It depends how you define bad boy. This was posted a few months ago here, but given the screen time Will got this week and the recency of these tweets, it seems worth responding. These are some massive red flags. That's charming. Yes, Will, my dislike of violence in men is totally all about my fragile ego and not about, the safety of myself and my children. Lord. Will, who cried over a jacket. That Will, right, makes no sense. Men who are insecure in their masculinity have a tendency to lord it over women. However, in this episode, Will teared up over a jacket, so seems sensitive, and he didn't really let Peter bait him too much and kept the drama to himself. So it seemed like he recognized Peter's toxic masculinity and refrained from participating. So it was surprised to read these retweets, which are very misogynistic. So this is a Wicked Happy Heather right here, what I just read, did a very good job of explaining that Will actually showed his sensitive side. So it's like, I understand when people hear toxic masculinity, that's like a war zone, like my side versus your side. Oh, you think men are that way? We're not. We're this, we're that. It's like, come on, as humans, we need to give ourselves credit for being so much more complicated than that. Yes, toxic masculinity exists rampantly across the world. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean everything you do is toxically masculine, okay? So it's almost like Will took defense to something that he might not have even been. You know what I mean? A woman who had a strong and responsible father, as if the onus is on her and not the father for not having one. LOL, LMAO, what a flipping loser this cat is. Someone says, gotta love it when they completely miss the point of toxic masculinity. That's a good example because that's what we're here to do, is to re-educate and say that, all right, you just missed the point of what it is. So I'm giving him a mulligan. You don't have to, but I'm giving him a mulligan to learn a little bit more about toxic masculinity. And so much so, it'd be great if he actually made a statement about it, just to be like, this is where I was wrong in these retweets, because that's actually not what it is. And I think it is a problem to hold people to a standard that's just like not a healthy place to be. And that's what it's all about. No man with an alpha personality is attracted to so-called alpha females. That's because 99% of men who refer to themselves as alphas are actually insecure dickheads like yourself, Will. A secure and mature man will have no issue with dating a strong woman. Amen to that. As a Latina, I'm 0% shocked. Toxic masculinity in Latin America is on a whole other level when compared to the US. Still disappointed though. I'm always excited to see Hispanic contestants sigh. Machismo is a hell of a drug, and I flipping hate it. Agreed. Sexism is at a whole different level amongst most Latin men. Okay, so then you have the Latin, sort of congregation speaking about how it is in their culture, and of course, it exists in different cultures and all that, and we're all guilty in one form or another of saying or doing something toxic. It's about that collective, clumping of whatever your vibes are. So it's like, it's one thing to have a problematic or a toxic thought or even an action, and it's another to have repeatedly valuing that toxicity. You know what I mean? It's almost like food we put in. Like you can eat McDonald's every once in a while, but if you eat that every day, that's toxicity for your body. So I'm not telling people to just be slightly toxic with their masculinity. I'm telling people it's all right if you slip up. The other day I said tone deaf, and someone said don't say tone deaf. It's not good for the deaf. And then we learn all the time that our words have meaning and power, and we need to rethink how we say things. And that's what it's all about, folks, right? That's not about walking on eggshells, and it's not about apologizing for being a man or a woman. It's about learning ways in which we may have ingrained thoughts that might not be healthy to us and the people that surround us. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, hit the like button. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.